From a week 6 NFL picks video here. We did a live stream that was 2.5 hours. So if you don't want to sit through 2.5 hours talking about picks, I'll run through these in 10 to 15 minutes. So before I do that, please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video, visit walterfootball.com for tons of content. We review the NFL picks against the spread in detail. We also have college football picks against the spread, 2026 and 2027 NFL mock drafts. We grade every signing, we grade every trade, including the Joe Flacco trade and the trade that just happened with the Jaguars and Browns with the two cornerbacks. So it's all free. This is all free at walterfootball.com. Doesn't cost you a dime. There are a lot of ads, but for a small fee each month, you can get rid of all the ads, and the site runs super quickly. Plus, you get some bonuses as well. There's a contest for premium members. There's also some info that we give out to premium members too. So yeah, so it's all at walterfootball.com. So give it a visit. Hopefully you get a lot of, you enjoy all the great content we have on the site. All right, so let's get into these week 6 NFL picks against the spread. We begin with the Eagles and Giants on Thursday Night Football. Eagles coming off a loss to the Broncos. So I imagine that they're going to be focused for this game. It's a divisional opponent as well. They're their most hated rival. It's pretty telling that the Eagles have an awful track record before they play the Giants. I think they're like 8-20 against the spread before they play the Giants. So they really look forward to these games. And Saquon Barkley, he's going to be really amped up to play against his former team for the second time. I think the Eagles are the right side here. The Giants have a lot of injuries, particularly at receiver. So you kind of have to wonder how they're going to move the ball. Now, Jalen Carter might be out. If he's out, I'm not going to have as much interest in the Eagles. But right now, it looks like Philly's the best side. Hopefully, you can get a -7, -7.5 still should be good though. Really, the Thursday game really goes to the better team as long as they're focused, because the inferior team doesn't really have enough time to prepare for this game. And the inferior teams need as much practice time as possible against these superior opponents. And the same thing could be said of the London game. So the Jets are the inferior team, obviously, and they're going to have less preparation time than normal because they have to travel overseas. So I think that really benefits Denver. Now, the one thing going against Denver here, and this is really asinine in the NFL, they made this a 7:30 a.m. local start time for the Broncos, which I frankly is just absolutely ridiculous. Like, yeah, maybe they had some time to adjust their body clocks to Eastern time because they played in Philly. They had a 1 o'clock start time last week, but still, I don't understand this. Like, if you're a Broncos fan, do you really want to wake up 7:30 in the morning on a Sunday, your day off, to watch football? Like, I don't know. I love football, but I want my sleep too. No, I like Denver here. Now, the question is, will they be focused? They're coming off a win against the Eagles. They came back from 17-3. So on one hand, I would think no, but on the other hand, this is an international stage. They don't get to play here often at all. The Jets did, last year, so they're kind of used to this already. But for the Broncos, this is new. This is a cool thing for them. I think that they're going to treat this like a big game. And the Jets quit last week. Truly pathetic performance by Aaron Glenn's troops, and I don't really see things getting rectified on a short work week. So let's get to the 1 o'clock games. The Browns are the Steelers. Steelers are -5.5. This is a horrible spot for the Browns. This is their third straight game away from home. And they played in London last week, so they have to travel back. And the Steelers are coming off a bye. So that just says to take the Steelers, right? Well, I feel like that's already baked into the spread because everyone knows about it. And what people don't really recognize is that impending Thursday games for big favorites is usually kind of a pitfall because they tend to look ahead. And the Steelers have to play the Bengals in 4 days. Their old nemesis, Joe Flacco, now quarterbacking the Bengals. So they might be a little bit more focused on that. Plus, the Bengals have a better record. They're closer to the Steelers in the standings. So if they're focused on one game, it's either the Browns or the Bengals. It's going to be the Bengals, I think. So plus, Pittsburgh hasn't been able to tackle this year. Their run defense has stunk, so that's not a good thing against Quinshon Judkins. I like the Browns a little bit here. Not enough to bet them, but I think they're the right side. Cardinals at the Colts. Colts are now -7. Kyler Murray did not practice on Wednesday, so this could be Jacoby Brissett, who is a downgrade from Murray. Like Murray's not a great quarterback by any means, but he's still better than Brissett. And I feel like Murray does the best in these sort of games. Murray has an incredible track record as an underdog. He's 21-10 against the spread as an underdog, so that would benefit him here. And I think it's because like when he's an underdog, he tends to freelance a little bit more. He doesn't really think about things too much, and that's kind of like where he tends to thrive, especially in like garbage time, getting backdoor covers. But when he's favored, it feels like he just thinks about things too much and isn't able to freelance and stuff like that when he's at his best. So and plus the Cardinals, they can't run the ball, so they can't run out the clock. So that's why they keep getting backdoored over and over again. The Colts, I think if this is Brissett, I think I would side with the Colts. If this is Murray, I would take the Cardinals. But not a big lean here. I really like this next game though. Rams at the Ravens. This line is -7.5. The Ravens showed us absolutely nothing last week, and I don't think that's going to change. I think they quit as well. They kind of know the writing on the ball here, at least until after Lamar Jackson comes back from injury, which I would assume is week 8. But this could be a bloodbath. You have Cooper Rush against the top 10 defense. The Rams are great in pass rush. The Ravens can't pass protect. And on the other side of the ball, the Ravens can't stop the run. So you would think Kyron Williams is going to have a big game. And the Ravens can't get to the quarterback. So Stafford should be able to just dissect Baltimore's defense pretty easily. I really think this is going to be a big Kyron Williams game after he screwed up last week. Plus, Rams coming off a loss, on a national stage. They've had a long week to think about it, and I think like they want to avoid 3-3 if possible. So I think they're going to come out and have a great game here and just beat the crap out of the Ravens. I would take the alt line -20.5 as well. Seahawks, the Jaguars. No strong take here. I'm not a big believer in the Jaguars. They're 4-1, but they've had such a soft schedule. Not included Monday Night Football. It was a nice win against the Chiefs, but the Chiefs made a lot of mistakes in that game. They could have won. Plus, he had the fluky Trevor Lawrence touchdown. Seattle, I think, is more legit. I looked at defense more. Sam Darnold's played really well too, so better than Trevor Lawrence for sure. So I would side with Seattle, but not a play at all for me. Cowboys and Panthers. I didn't really like the Cowboys at -3.5, and now that it's 3, I know that's a sign of strength for the Panthers. That looks like the Sharps are in Carolina, but Cowboys -3 I think is interesting because you have a Carolina team that is first of all they're dreadful. Second, they're coming off a win. Anytime you get a horrible team coming off a win, you have to fade them. They just have a terrible track record of bouncing back, or at least, sustaining success. And I don't think the Panthers will be able to do that. Plus, Dallas's defense has improved a little bit with James Houston rushing the passer, and Dallas should be able to get a couple of offensive linemen back from injury. So as long as that happens, I like Dallas here at -3. I love the Chargers at -4 against the Dolphins. The Dolphins are just an atrocious team. Their defense is abysmal. They can't get to the quarterback. They can't stop the run. Rico Dowdle just rushed for 200 yards against them, which is insane. I know the Chargers don't have a viable back right now because it's either Haskins or Vidal, but I feel like they could both combine for good performances here. The fact that the Dolphins can't get after the quarterback, I think that's a big edge for Justin Herbert, who has struggled with pressure the past couple of weeks, but it doesn't seem like the Chargers offensive line will be exposed as it was against Washington and the week prior to that as well against in their week 4 opponent that they battled. Off the top of my head, I can't remember who it was exactly, but it was the hold on. Crap. Yeah, I didn't look that up. It's the Giants. They played the Giants. They lost. The Giants actually get after the quarterback pretty well. Miami does not. Miami doesn't have. It's kind of weird. They actually have a couple of talented pass rushers. Bradley Chubb, for example, Chop Robinson, but they don't get to the quarterback very often. So I think that the Chargers should be able to pass protect pretty well. I trust Jim Harbaugh to make the right moves here, and they're at least making a change at center, which I think was overdue. Bradley Bozeman, not a good center. Andre James, I think, is definitely an upgrade. So at least that's going to get better. Next game, Patriots and Saints. Patriots are -3.5. This is a terrible spot for them. They just beat the Bills, but maybe they bounce back. I think that they definitely could. I would bet them if I had to pick a side. Luckily, we don't have to, but I think that they're the right play. The big matchup here, and I think this really hurts the Saints, is that whenever the Saints can't run the ball, they've just been walloped this year. For example, against Seattle a few weeks ago, Seattle's great against run. The Saints couldn't run, and they got destroyed. Next 2 weeks, they play the Bills, who haven't been able to stop the run. Get to them later. And last week, they took on the Giants, who have one of the worst rush defenses in the NFL. And the Saints were able to run against both those teams, and they covered and then won and covered in their past 2 games. Now they get a New England run defense that's 8th in the NFL. So, and we just saw the Patriots just shut down James Cook. They shut down Ashton Jeanty week 1. They should be able to limit the Saints on the ground. And so Spencer Rattler's going to have to do enough, do a lot more than usual. And so I don't think it'll be enough, and I think the Patriots should be able to cover this. But like I said, this is a horrible spot for them. They could be a no-show, kind of like Atlanta was in Week 3 earlier this season, where Atlanta was coming off a win on national TV against the Vikings. They were full of themselves. They didn't show up against the Panthers. The Patriots won on national TV Sunday night, by the way, same as Atlanta. They could be a no-show against the Saints. I could see that happening. But the Saints, they fit the bill as a horrible team coming off a win. So it's another reason why I like the Patriots here. But the number's ugly, the spot's ugly. But you know what? Maybe given that they're a young team, maybe they won't know that they have to. They could take it easy. And Mike Vrabel is such a great coach too, so maybe he gets them up for this game. We have the Raiders versus the Titans. I like the Raiders a lot at -4. The advanced line is actually -6.5. The Titans, another horrible team coming off a win, and it was not deserved. Like, they got so lucky in that Arizona game. You had DeMarcado fumbling right before the goal line, not even fumbling, just dropping the ball. And then you had that stupid interception that was fumbled and kicked into the end zone. Tyler Lockett recovers. Tennessee did not deserve to win that game. And you have the Raiders, who they're 1-4. But they've had such a tough schedule. Like, they played the Chargers, they played Washington, they played last week. They took on the Colts. They actually beat the Patriots in week 1. And they really should have beaten the Bears. Like, they outgained them by a wide margin, but they lost because of stupidity. And maybe that happens again. But this is their easiest opponent by far. I think they'll take it to Tennessee. I like the alt line in this game, probably like -13.5. So we'll be on the Raiders. 49ers and Buccaneers. This is a tough one because we don't know the injuries yet. So I'm going to post another video Saturday night. We'll have the injury updates on the Niners because we don't know if Brock Purdy's playing. We don't know if Ricky Pearsall's playing. Some other guys for the Niners, Juwan Jennings, for example. Lots of injury question marks here. If all those guys are healthy, I think I would take San Francisco at +3. If a bunch of those guys are out, especially like both receivers, I think I'd side with Tampa at -3. Bengals and Packers. So if don't be worried about betting such a quote unquote big favorite here in October, dating back to 2020, dating back to 2000, in October games only, because we're kind of focused on that time frame here. Teams that are favored by 14 or more are 27-18 against the spread, which is pretty fantastic. I think that it just goes to show that you can bet these big favorites and have success. So don't look at this and be like, oh, this is too high, I can't bet the Packers. You can, and you probably win, as the Bengals are a terrible team. They're going to start Joe Flacco, which I think is going to be a disaster. The Bengals go from having a young quarterback who commits a lot of turnovers to an old quarterback who commits a lot of turnovers. Flacco's not the same guy we even saw in 2023 when he led the Browns to the playoffs. He just way past his prime. So I just don't see it with the Bengals. They can't play defense. They can't block. The Packers haven't won a game since week 2, so they'll be a little bit more desperate than usual than they'd be as a 14-point favorite. Especially coming off a bye, I really like the Packers here. They should be able to limit Joe Flacco. Flacco was awful against them back in week 3 too. Like, he won the game, but not because of him. It was because of Judkins and great defense, which the Bengals don't have a running game or a good defense. So it should be pretty one-sided. Lions at the Chiefs. Everyone seems surprised to see the Chiefs are favored. I'm not. I think you can make the case that the Chiefs are better than the Lions. Everyone remembers that great Detroit win at Baltimore. Kind of like made everyone remember like that. Oh, Detroit's a great team again. Like maybe they're going to go to the Super Bowl. Well, the Chiefs beat the Ravens by even more the next week. So yeah, I'm not really convinced here that the Lions are the better team. I think you can make the case for the Chiefs being the better team. Chiefs have had a much tougher schedule. You could take out Baltimore. Because there were similar games, same opponent. So the Lions did battle the Packers. That obviously a tough game, but they got destroyed in that game. Their other opponents who have been the Browns, the Bengals, and the Bears. Not really difficult opponents. The Chiefs have battled the Chargers, the Eagles, the Jaguars, who are 4-1. Much tougher competition. Their only easy game was against the Giants. So I think if you give the Lions schedule to the Chiefs and vice versa, maybe the Lions are 2-3 and the Chiefs are 4-1. So I like the Chiefs here. And this is desperation for them. They can't afford to go 2-4. I love Mahomes off a loss. Andy Reid off a loss. The Chiefs still have the best quarterback and the best coach in the NFL, so I'm going to side with them. Bills at the Falcons. This line's 4.5. I initially liked the Bills. Coming off a loss, I think they'd be in a good spot. But the more I think about it, the more I'm going to be on Atlanta. I think that the Buffalo defense is just horrible right now, especially against the run. Like they can't stop the run at all. And only the Colts run the ball better than the Falcons. And Bijan Robinson's fantastic. He should have a big game. Algier should do well too. Plus, the Falcons are coming off a bye, so the Bills are in a good spot because they're coming off a loss, but the Falcons also coming off a bye. So I think that's obviously I think they're in a good spot and I think they can win, but I don't really want to fade the Bills coming off a loss either. So it's probably going to be a pass for me. And the more I think about this game, the more I like the Redskins. So Bears at the Redskins, the line's 4.5. Jaden Daniels looked healthy last week. The Redskins might be able to get McLaurin back. Not sure, but they will. They seem to have found a running game, and Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt last week. And Chicago's horrible against the run. Ashton Jency had his best performance by far his rookie year against Chicago, and I think Kroski-Merritt could have a similar game. And even if he doesn't, you have Jaden Daniels, who is he's going to be healthier with another week removed from the injury. And Chicago is just pretty mediocre team here. So I think Washington's the right side. So those are the week 6 NFL picks against the spread. Give it to you in 17 minutes here instead of 2.5 hours, which, I still would recommend watching. It's a great conversation with Andy Iskoe, who's been a professional handicapper since 1990. So definitely give that a listen. But otherwise, please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video. Visit walterfootball.com for tons of content, free content for the NFL. But yeah, I will be back later in the week with an update for my week 6 NFL picks, and I'll talk to you then.